okay, love and boundaries. So they always go hand in hand because we have to love something in order to protect it. If we don't have a sense of self or a self-worth or a feeling of purpose in ourselves, then we will just immediately drop our boundaries. That's when we put anything and anyone in front of ourselves. So it's sort of like a candle. So say I have a little candle in my hand and I light it, and that spark, that light, is my relationship with myself. And as long as that candle is burning, it means my self-care is going, my sense of self is strong, and I have a sense of my self-worth, and I'm able to stay connected to be in my integrity. So if I'm walking around and that candle is blown out, then that's almost like feeling like a beggar in my own life. If I don't keep that self-love or that relationship with myself strong, then I'm going to need that recognition or that sense of importance or that sense of worth from everyone around me, and that makes us come across as needy and empty, hungry, starving, right? So the biggest thing in all relationships is really this relationship with myself before we have this relationship with another person. So if we come back to this candle, and I've got this candle burning on my hand, as long as I can keep that candle burning, and so that's why the second part is the boundary. So that's, for example, me putting that candle in like a glass vase or a jar, like you see at the shops when you buy a candle. And in that sense, if I walked outside without the jar, my flame could just be snuffed out by whatever is happening out there. But if I have that even if it's open on the top, but if I have that glass frame around it, I can walk out there in the wind and keep this going. So the biggest reason why we effectively like drop our boundaries with others is either compromise or sabotage. So for example, sabotage might be one of our deep fears, our unconscious fears of what we really don't want to happen, and because we're so afraid of it happening, we actually create that very thing. And by doing it, it protects us. It's sort of like, I'm going to do this before you reject me. So I'm going to reject you or reject us or act something out before you even have the chance to reject me. So that's sabotage. Compromise is it's when we want to hold on to that relationship so badly. So say this relationship with the other becomes so important that in doing that we make a compromise, but that compromise means we actually abandon or leave this relationship with ourselves. And that's it's either out of integrity or it wasn't authentic, and we have resentment or whatever that came with this. It came with this clause, this hidden clause, right? So that's the compromise. So we either neglect ourselves, abandon ourselves, reject ourselves in order to maintain the relationship. All those things are really painful. Doing it to ourselves is actually more painful than receiving it, but that's another piece. So yeah, if you think about the last time it was difficult for you in your life to set a boundary, whether it was in your family, personal relationships, your work life, and then just ask yourself why it was difficult. So really in that question is, what was hard about it, or what did I need? So for example, maybe it was that you just wanted to keep the peace, you were really tired and you just had no more capacity to deal with any kind of conflict. So therefore the boundary was hard and you just didn't want to do it. So to keep the peace, to maintain a relationship, like you're afraid of what might happen if you spoke what was true, if you had a need, afraid of losing another person, afraid of losing the situation. It could be to please another. So say your partner or if your daughter comes home and they're in a really bad mood and you just want to fix them and get them into a good mood because it's really uncomfortable, so you're just trying to please them. Or it could be to impress someone. So and it could be that maybe you're feeling like too much, so it's that my needs or whatever it is are too much, or it's an inconvenience, and so therefore it's difficult. And really, actually, when you do that, you're actually making, if it's inconvenient, or you think that your needs or whatever your thing is too much, you're actually making the other person responsible for you, which is sort of like handing them this really heavy weight. So actually a healthy boundary would be to be able to look after your own needs and tend to the needs of the relationship. And it's that dance, rather than just straight up neglecting yours and fixing that. And there's actually a burden that goes out on both sides, and that gets lived. These are our patterns. So that's it for today. I hope you have a beautiful day, and love from here in Maui.